Hello and thank you for joining us. I'm Cody Proctor. This is the KREM 2 News Week in Review, where each weekend we bring you headlines from the past week in the Inland Northwest. Let's get started with one of the biggest news stories of the past few days.
This has definitely been a topic of conversation since it was ruled that Coe, who is now in his late 70s, would be released from custody at the beginning of the month.
For those who have been following this case, originally it was announced that Coe would be moving from Washington's Special Commitment Center on McNeil Island to an adult family home in Federal Way. The Federal Way community later pushed back on Coe moving into their city, which caused him to relocate to Auburn less than a week after being released. However, Coe did not stay in Auburn for long. After relocating, Auburn's Mayor Nancy Backus claimed she wasn't notified of Coe's relocation to her city and that members of the Muckleshoot tribe were moving to vacate him, causing Coe to relocate twice now due to community pushback. Today, Mayor Backus posted a statement on social media updating the community that Coe is no longer living in Auburn, saying in part, quote, "The Auburn Police Department, along with the Muckleshoot Indian tribe and members of the community worked together, and Coe has since been removed from the adult family home in East Auburn," end quote. Coe has now officially re-registered as a Level 3 sex offender in Federal Way after being suspected of committing up to 40 rapes in the 70s and 80s. After looking up his new address, it's confirmed he's now living less than 500 feet away from Brigadoon Elementary School. Federal Way's Mayor Jim Farrell sent us a statement saying that he's disappointed to hear the news that Kevin Coe is moving to Federal Way. He goes on to say in part, "Mr. Coe is a man in his late 70s who is largely confined to a wheelchair. We are confident his presence in Federal Way does not pose a significant public safety risk to our community. We understand that may be cold comfort, but those are the facts as provided to us," end quote.
Now, we did reach out to the King County Sheriff's Office to see how Coe was allowed to move close to a school as a registered sex offender. A spokesperson for the Sheriff's Office says Coe has unconditional release per the courts, so he can live anywhere with no restrictions. In the newsroom, Christian Garza, KREM 2 News.
Tonight, Andre Moore is in the Spokane County Jail on a $1 million bond, and we have learned more charges could be coming. For the family of Derek Schaefer, his accused killer's first court appearance leaves them with more questions than answers.
Well, there's a lot to come out still.
Schaefer's sister Ashley Smith has been reading up on the case against Andre Moore and told the judge the court system let down her family and her brother.
And so I'm just asking that you please consider, when setting his bond, that he has affected an entire community of family that loves him very dearly, including his son.
Moore will stay in jail on a $1 million bond for the murder charge, but he also now has a $50,000 bond on a gun charge from the months before Schaefer's killing. Court records show Moore, already a felon, was arrested in August on a warrant with a loaded gun in his pocket. He was charged for having the gun, but when he was released, he failed to show up to pretrial services. When he was arrested again in mid-September, court records show he was released on his own recognizance again.
It's like, man, OR'd twice on a gun charge. I can understand once, but twice. And then 19 days later, he takes my brother. So I just feel let down by Spokane County right now.
Smith says the investigation isn't over. She's still uncertain why her brother was targeted and how the two men knew one another. She hopes more arrests are coming.
He showed absolutely zero remorse. He has some serious charge. He's looking at life in prison. It's first-degree murder. It's without the possibility of parole. That's a max sentence for that charge, and he doesn't care.
The prosecutor says he also plans to add one count of unlawful possession of a firearm in the growing list of charges against Moore in this case. Shannon Mowdy, KREM 2 News.
Police tape is all that's left to be seen here in the Logan neighborhood after a shooting here on Friday night left one person dead.
It should be a safe space.
Emma Sjogren regularly walks her friend's dog Roxy at night near where she lives in the Logan neighborhood. But now she's questioning when and where they'll go walking in the future.
It's so close to a college campus. We should feel safe to walk at night. We should feel safe to walk anywhere.
But that sense of security was shaken Friday night as Spokane police officers responded to a shooting in the area of Mission and Cincinnati Street at 7 p.m. near where Sjogren lives.
I saw that they had taped off the area over here that blocked off that sidewalk.
Officers say they found a man with a gunshot wound and took him to a nearby hospital. He died later that night. The incident happened not only near Sjogren's home, but also blocks away from where she goes to school at Gonzaga University as a graduate student. She says the shooting came too close for comfort.
The fact that could happen is my biggest fear.
Officers say they don't believe there's any connection between the shooting and the university. Instead, they believe it was a targeted attack. They say they haven't found a suspect yet. Sjogren hopes investigators can find the person responsible and make the neighborhood she and Roxy have always come to love feel safer.
We should feel safe to do anything and not have to have a fear in the back of our heads that we might be a victim of a drive-by shooting, a stabbing, or any fatality crime.
Officers say if anyone knows any information about what happened on Friday night, they're encouraged to call Crime Check. Connor McAvoy, KREM 2 News.
As we go to break, here's a check of your forecast. Welcome back to the KREM 2 News Week in Review. It has been a busy week all across the Inland Northwest, so let's catch you up on some of the news you might have missed.
Well, the organization COPS says since cutting ties with the city of Spokane, they're working off a bare bones budget, but still remain active. Now the organization is asking for community funding to ramp up staffing and programs.
We have 8 shops throughout the city, located in virtually every corner. And so people have learned that they can come into the COP shops and talk to a volunteer. Some people are afraid to talk to the police for whatever reason, but they're not afraid to talk to a neighbor.
The new chairman of the COPS board, Jim Wilson, tells me COPS is operating with a budget of about $120,000. He says now that the partnership with the city of Spokane has ended, which used to fund about $500,000 of COPS operations, they hope to raise up to $250,000 to scale up programs. Wilson says Neighborhood Patrol, Block Watch, and Pause on Patrol are all programs that are running, but they want to expand the reach of these programs. Programs that are no longer in operation, but COPS says they want to bring back are crime prevention protocols for churches, businesses, and similar organizations, as well as a fingerprinting program that people could use after a crime took place on their property. Right now, he says location hours are extremely limited. Wilson added, since he has started his position, he has been able to cut down on administrative costs. Wilson emphasizes the vital role of COPS presence and volunteers, highlighting the need for new funding to support their efforts.
Make it so that the community deals with each other in an uplifting way, not a negative way. We don't need people dying in the streets. We don't need crime. We don't need shootings. We want to get together as real community. And I think that's where the volunteers are coming from.
And to kick off that community fundraising, chairman of the COPS board, Jim Wilson, tells me a fundraiser will be happening on October 28th at all Spokane Red Robins. He tells me to just mention COPS to the serving staff. I'm reporting in North Spokane, Regan Gallo, KREM 2 News.
Brian Rogers moved to North Idaho with his family for the scenery, but he says the views he's come to love are going to be in short supply.
We kind of fell in love with the beauty of the area, which is being destroyed one day at a time right now.
Coeur Terre is a nearly 450-acre planned community located just across the street from Rogers' home near Hutter and Greta Avenue. It includes 2,800 living units, along with businesses, 18 acres of parks, and land for 2 public schools. Cooney County Land Company is developing the project, which has been in the works for years and stirs up plenty of opinions among people who live nearby. Rogers says he and others worry about the increase in traffic.
Between having the right type of traffic control and then the amount of housing that we're putting over, which is currently set for 2,800 units, we're very concerned.
Greetings, I'm going to call this meeting to order.
It's a concern echoed during tonight's Coeur d'Alene City Council meeting. The developers requested city leaders allowing turning 23 of those acres into an active adult senior living building and traditional 3-story apartment buildings. The company's president, Melissa Wells, presented the information alongside her staff. She says their reasoning for the request is to have more diverse housing options.
It reflects the current market realities, demographic shifts, and community housing needs that basically have evolved since we put together this original conceptual plan.
Council voted in favor of the change, as well as allowing city staff to work with the developers to work on any traffic-related issues community members fear before construction begins. However, Rogers isn't optimistic about the project and says no matter what changes may occur down the road, there are going to be problems.
So they can put up stop signs and we can do stoplights and we can do roundabouts, but long and short of it is the amount of volume that they're looking to do with commercial spaces is very concerning.
Construction for the project set to start late into next year. I'm also told by city officials that anyone who's against the project has until November 27th to appeal it. Connor McAvoy, KREM 2 News.
Thanks for joining KREM 2 News this weekend. I'm Cody Proctor. Right now, we're taking a look back at some of the news stories from the past week in this edition of the KREM 2 News Week in Review.
The Trump administration argues these H-1B visas are too often used to bring in workers that'll be paid less than American workers.
Train Americans, stop bringing in people to take our jobs.
That new 6-figure fee is why hiring managers at two of the biggest local healthcare companies, UW Medical Center and Fred Hutch Cancer Center, have pumped the brakes, at least temporarily, on foreign worker visa petitions.
The CEO here says this visa uncertainty is creating, in his words, significant disruption and even loss for the care they provide on behalf of their patients and the broader community.
Washington struggles with a severe doctor shortage. Experts project the state to reach a shortage of more than 6,000 doctors by 2030.
And primary care alone makes up more than a quarter of that number. So what kind of impacts could we see locally? Here at UW, they estimate at least half of the more than 300 employees with such visas are employed on the medical side right now.
Meantime, at Fred Hutch Cancer Center, federal data shows over the last 5 years, they've greenlit 181 such visa applications. The Trump administration says this new fee applies to all visa petitions filed on or after September 21st of this year.
That's the policy here, $100,000 a year for H-1B visas, and all of the big companies are on board.
The ICE facility in Portland has been the epicenter of protests. For months, a small group of demonstrators has gathered outside, sometimes clashing with federal officers assigned to protect it. Previously, local media had not been given access, but after repeated requests, we were allowed inside. Federal officers used an upper floor window to access the roof. Here they watched demonstrators below, and in the past have used this position to fire pepper balls and other crowd-controlled devices.
Here on the roof of the building, you can see they've set up plywood to block and protect some of the windows. Also, they've got floodlights set up to shine a brighter light on the crowd below.
Several floors up on the top of the building, there are more temporary floodlights. The ICE building sits in Portland's south waterfront, neighboring sleek high-rise apartments and condos. Inside, the facility is used as an office and processing center for people accused of immigration violations.
No one was available to go on camera or provide any quotes, but I was able to sit down for more than a half an hour with local representatives from ICE and ask questions.
One topic, schools. Starting this week, local officials said they've told ICE officers to no longer stage or meet up in school parking lots after tensions in the community. They say generally they don't make arrests on school grounds. When asked why ICE officers wear masks, officials explained it's to prevent doxing. ICE officials also discussed recent cases of neighbors trying to block federal agents with their cars, including this situation in Hillsborough last week. Federal agents admit it's raised concern and forced ICE to rethink tactics, although no specifics were given. Officials note if someone interferes with an operation, it can be criminal and will be prosecuted. As for security, local officials note it's not ICE officers protecting the building. It's the Federal Protective Service and other sub-agencies. Local ICE representatives say they're still able to do their job without much interruption and admit There's been a recent surge in immigration enforcement activity in Oregon, although could not provide specifics or data.
We received a disturbing video over the weekend of a man abusing a dog on Ring camera.
The sheriff's office says this man is the ex-boyfriend of the owner of this dog, a corgi named Doc. The video shows the man hitting the dog with his knee and punching the dog in the head. Deputies say a neighbor captured this on their Ring camera before calling 911.
Animal control seized the dog with a warrant and took it to the vet.
A full evaluation showed no major injuries, but the corgi was given pain medication and is now under care at the Humane Society. Doc's owner has until November 3rd to file an appeal to get the dog back, pending a bond. No arrests have been made, but a judge could decide to file charges against the owner's ex-boyfriend. That could lead to an arrest or warrant.
We're thankful for everyone that reported this case, and the dog did not sustain any major injuries.
In Eatonville, Maddie White, King 5 News.
Welcome back. Before we wrap up this edition of the KREM 2 News Week in Review, we want to remind you that you can get the latest newscast and weather forecast anytime on KREM 2 Plus. It's free to watch and download for Roku, Amazon Fire, and on Apple TV. Now here's one more story before we go.
For the first 20 years, we would have maybe 6, 8, 10, 12 people come. It was just like that for the longest time, and then we started putting more stuff out.
Okay, is that it?
Like 4 years ago, we had like 50 people come, and we thought, oh, this is great, you know, and then the next year it was like 250, and then 500, and then 1,500. It's grown.
We have a haunted walkthrough. It's not scary, it's spooky. And so it's for kids and adults of all ages.
All the fences that I put together are cedar trees that I've cut down in the yard.
And sometimes I walk out and I go, you cut another tree?
Well, obviously new this year is the shed. All the siding on the front is just cedar fence boards that came from my neighbor's fence that they took down.
20 years ago, it's been sitting in our yard for 20 years.
No, it hasn't.
Yes, it has.
Those lamps were my mother-in-law's that she was gonna throw away. And I just thought, oh no, I'll keep those. Those are great little props.
I'm always excited to see if it's bigger.
This guy's head is just huge.
Because it has grown every year, and last year was our biggest, so I'm excited to see. So far, the first 4 days of this year, we've had over 500. Hello, have you guys been here before? They come and they hang around the campfire, and their kids are running around looking at everything, and especially on Halloween, people come and they just hang out. So it's a lot of fun.
I like all of it. It's all really cool. My favorite part is the Star Wars part.
And the coolest thing is that people say, oh, this has become our tradition. We come here every year.
It's just a blast. I think the real fun about it is it's different every year too.
I've never known anyone to do this in my entire life.
Halloween's gonna be busy this year.
Thank you for spending part of your weekend with us on the KREM 2 News Week in Review. Be sure to keep it here on KREM 2 for more news and weather updates. I'm Cody Proctor. Thanks for watching.